Okie dokie. We have started the recording and people are still coming in. So I wanted, some of you were here last month, and you know, when I do these and we have so many people, we need to have everybody on mute because the noise generated picks up on the audio tape, and people who are trying to watch the video afterwards have a hard time hearing me because there's so much distracting noise. But the problem with having you on mute all the time is that I don't get any feedback. And I'm used to teaching where I can see you and where I can see verbal cues and where I hear people talking back to me. So it's really hard to just have this silent space. So last time what we did is that Lori, who's doing my co-hosting for me today. Hi, Lori.
Hi, Lori.
Thank you, Lori. She's a fellow educator. Anyway, she is going to monitor everything for me. And there's a little thing. Do you see it at the bottom on your menu that says reactions? It's in the black menu on the bottom of your page. And it should say reactions. Do you see that?
Yep.
Okay. If you see that, click on it and it'll give you, you can just click on it for practice and it will give you a lot of options like yes, no, a little hold your hand up, you know, raise your hand, stuff like
Thumbs
that.
up.
Thumbs up. So yeah, exactly. So if I ask a question like, are you guys tracking with me? Please do a reaction, because then Lori's going to check the reactions. And then if there's people that are saying absolutely not, I'm totally confused, then I'll know it, because otherwise I won't know. So
and I'll relate anything that you put in the chat as well as the reaction.
Right. And so, and then chat, use the chat bar to ask questions or use the chat bar to make comments. You can chat as much as you want. Great, because Lori will monitor it and she will verbally tell me. She's going to be the only one with her mic on besides me. So does that make sense to everybody? Yes?
Yep.
Okay.
So all at this time, I'm going to mute all, and that means, Sandy, you'll have to unmute yourself.
Right. Okay, I unmuted myself. You can nod if you hear me. Do you hear me? Good. Okay. So what I am going to do is I am going to switch to my other camera, which just will take me a second. Hopefully we will have no problems. There it is. Yay.
And Sandy, we've got 36 people here so far.
Oh, awesome. Awesome, awesome. We have 84 or 85 registered. So we usually get about 50% because people, you know, have things come up, or some people I registered even though they couldn't come so that they would get the handout and everything. Okay. All right. So we're going to use the reactions and we're going to use the chat box. So I wanted just to say, well, first of all, thank you for being here. Oh my gosh, I've been so anxious to see all of you again. It's just, I just look forward to these times together. So I really am so grateful that you took the time to be with me today. And I'm doing this washi workshop because when I did a poll in my Facebook group and asked what people wanted to have me do next, washi won. So here it is. So today is going to be a little bit different because rather than showing you, like demonstrating making a whole lot of cards, I'm really not going to do that because, you know, washi tape is washi tape, but I'm going to show you a couple things, but mostly we're just going to go through a lot of cards. And I noticed something when I pulled all the cards out yesterday, the actual cards, I realized, oh, okay, I went back through my photos to make the handout and I pulled out all the cards I saw in my photos that I wanted to use. And I've discovered when I went to pull out the real cards yesterday, oh, I had sent a couple of those cards to some friends, so they're missing. So then I found some other cards that I didn't have pictures of that I would have liked to share. So the ones that you see that are extras, I will send you another sheet when I send you the link for the movie. So anyway, having said that, on the front sheet of the handout, it talks about our next workshop, which is May 15th. That'll be completely different because we'll be doing coloring flowers with alcohol markers, and that's going to be an actual hands-on working together workshop, and I won't be showing 50 cards. So it's this is more like inspiration, how to use your washi, and that's going to be hands-on. Let's work together to conquer this fearful thing of alcohol markers and flowers. So it'll be a different kind of workshop, and that's going to be on the 15th of May. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to change it to 3 Eastern instead of 2. It's just really hard to get times that are good for everybody around the globe. And today turned out to be not as good for some people. So I think I'm going to switch it back to 3, but I'll let you know. Anyway, if you haven't registered, there's my email address on the handout, and you can just email me. And if you're interested, and I will register you. Also, my Facebook group is on the front, the link on the digital copy of your handout. And if you're interested in any of these things that you see me use today or that are on the handout, I have an order sheet for you with all those specific things in alphabetical order at this link on my blog. So I'm trying to make that easy for you. Other than that, let's get started. Oh, I'm excited. Okay, the first technique that we want to look at is covering a whole card with washi. And this is just so easy and so fast. So if you need a card quickly, there's nothing faster than doing just plain washi, a sentiment, and these sides are actually washi also. This washi tape, let me find it here, is this one. And it's the Painted Fantasy wide washi. And it's so beautiful. So anyway, I wanted to show you 2 ways of covering. This is the only demo I'm going to be doing. 2 ways of covering cardstock. Now, this is 4 inch. Let's see, this is 4 1/4. I didn't cut it down, but a lot of times I like to cut my washi down. In fact, I think I will, to 4 inches. And I do that for a reason, because it's really hard. The tape is 4 1/4. And when you try to get it exactly on the edges, at least for me, I just get super frustrated. I'm not that exacting of a person. So a lot of times I just do it 4 inches and then put an edging on like I did with this. This one is actually, I think, 3 3/4. I like the look of it kind of being framed. But if I'm going to take some washi, there's 2 ways you can do this, and it's really your preference. The first way is to take your wide washi and start it a little bit and stick it to your work surface straight like that.
Naomi likes your cards.
Oh, thank you, Naomi. And then lay your card down straight on your work surface. And then you take your bone folder and you just go like this. You start unrolling and you just wipe it like that as you go along to get it. Oh, see, I don't do this one very frequently, and that's why. See, I'm not even getting it straight. So start over. That's the one thing about washi, is you can start over. This is the way you can do it, and I do it once in a while, but I don't do it this way often because I'm not talented enough. That's the bottom line. Getting it straight is not easy.
Josanne says that first washi tape design is so pretty, and I love how it makes such a pretty card so quickly.
I use that one so fast. I mean, so frequently. Okay, I'm trying to line this up here straight, and you can see with me botching it here, this is not the easiest method for me. I'm trying to lay it down next to next to my lines on my work surface. Okay, so that's that. Now I'm going to cut it. Now from here you have two choices. First of all, you're going to take there are little wrinkles. I don't know if can you see that there are little wrinkles in there?
We can see it. Yep.
Okay, so you're going to take your bone folder, and these will easily go out. This is kind of like hanging wallpaper. Have any of you hung a lot of wallpaper?
Do a thumbs up if you've done wallpaper.
A lot of us are old enough to be in the era when wallpaper was really popular.
Oh yeah, we got 15 plus people that are.
Well, this is kind of the same way. You get wrinkles, and remember when you had that little roller thing that you would roll out all the wrinkles, all the air out of it? This is the same idea. You just want to make sure that you've got all the wrinkles out. Then you have a choice, and your choice is to either take your scissors or your trimmer and just trim around the sides. I personally don't prefer to do that. And the reason I don't is that I find that sometimes it kind of peels up from the edge on the front. Just because washi isn't always, it's low tack, and sometimes it doesn't stay really stuck, but I would say probably more people do that. So, hey, that's your choice. That's great. I'm going to show you what I do. I think it comes from my sewing background. I miter the corners. So let me use my long scissors.
That's a great idea.
So,
she wants to know what size card that you're using again.
This card is 4 inches by 5.5. And I made it 4 inches because it gives me a little edge on the washi on either side. If I had this 4 1/4, there would be like a 1/16 of an inch on each side. And that just bothers me. So I use 4 inches mostly, but I miter the corners like this. If you sew, you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
I just cut it across the edge. I'm going to make this one a little shorter.
Somebody wants to know, but maybe a wooden brayer would work to press out the wrinkles.
With a what? A brayer?
A wooden
I don't
brayer?
know. It seems like it would. I've never tried one. I like my bone folder a lot. It does a really good job. I usually do the flat side. You know, I use this side. And then when I really have something stubborn, I use this side. And it really seems to work well. But you can try a brayer. I don't see why it wouldn't work. So I mitered those edges by cutting them at a diagonal. See that?
Is that a Teflon bone folder you're using?
What?
Teflon bone folder?
Teflon bone folder. This is not the Altenew brand. I just have to fess up. I don't know if theirs looks different. I've had this for years, Amazon. I was going to say last time, I kept saying, I got it from Amazon. I got it from Amazon. You need to understand that living in Alaska, do you know how many companies won't ship to Alaska? It's amazing. They think you're on the other side of the world, which I guess maybe you sort of are, but they don't think you're actually a state of the United States. They'll say free shipping or whatever in the United States. What they mean is the continental United States. So you want to get a package that's worth $15 and you're paying $25 for shipping. So Amazon Prime becomes your best friend when you live in Alaska. So if I can get anything off Amazon, I will, because I get free shipping. And so that's why I order as much as I can off of that. But anyway, you can see how I'm turning down these edges, and they miter the corners perfect. And then I always feel more secure about this method because I have it all folded over the edge, and I didn't trim it on the edge where it could possibly peel back. Does that make sense to you guys?
Let me see thumbs up. Oh, I lost you. Where'd you guys go? There we go. Oh yeah, we got a lot of thumbs up.
Yeah, so it's just really easy. You just cut it diagonally on the corners, and then you can see how it folds down really well, and it makes it kind of secure. I like this method a lot, but I've rarely seen anybody else do it this way. Most everybody just trims it. So that's fine too. It's up to you, but you can see on this one, when you look at it sideways, I think you can see the floral imprint on the side because I turned it under, and then you can see the foam tape, of course. But anyway, so does everybody understand how to cover that? Oh, I wanted to show you one more way. Wait a minute. I'm going to take the tuxedo. This is another of my really favorite ones. It makes such a great background for anything bright floral or anything like that. And I'm going to cut this down to 4 inches also, or maybe even 3 3/4. Let's see here. 3 3/4. And I'm going to show you the other way to put it on the front that I do if I really want to get it straight or try to get it straight. I say try. And that is to roll your tape out. See, this has a plaid on it. So roll your tape out this way and then cut it.
Josanne says, I'm so glad you're doing this workshop because I have lots of authentic washi tape from Japan that my friend there got me. I want that friend too.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
In this method, you do it upside down. And there's a lot of, if you want it to get straight, there's a lot of positive things about saying about this method, because you, especially if you can see through it, I can see that line right there, that white line on the other side, and I can see the edges, and I can try to line up the card so that it's really straight with the edges. And that looks pretty straight to me. And then I'll miter it again. So it's pretty easy to do this one, especially once you get the hang of it. I do this upside down method a lot. It just suits me better. I can do it faster.
That's what Lori said. That's how she does it.
Yeah. And if you watch any of my washi, I have a few on my YouTube channel. I do it that way on there. So you turn it like that, and then you kind of pull a little bit to make it really tight on the edge. And it doesn't matter if there's wrinkles on the back.
Yeah, that's a great tip.
Yeah. So this works really well for me. And I feel more, like I said, more secure that it's not going to be getting loose on the front and peeling back. So there you have that one. And you can see it's pretty straight because I was able to line it up from the back side. So we looked at this card. Now we're going to look at this card. Totally different. Made the exact same way. It was made with this wide washi, and then it has rainbow washi on the sides. I forget the name of it, but it's on the handout. But totally different feel than this, and made exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
So there's so much flexibility. You can get so many different, you can go from elegant to playful to in an instant, and you don't have to do anything, other than a sentiment if you don't want to. And it's so fast if you need a quick card. Here's another one. I really like this one. This has vellum on it too. Can you see the vellum underneath the sentiment?
Yes.
I just tore vellum to be the background. Now this was made from this marshland washi on the back that I covered just like the other. It has navy cardstock behind it for an edging. This is navy and gray cardstock, but the sentiment, if you look at it closely, you can see it's got some gold spots on it. Can you see those?
Oh, yes. There you go.
You see those
Yep.
gold spots?
Yeah. Cynthia loves that look.
Okay,
And
well,
so do I.
That sentiment was cut out of this washi. So all I did was that I put some of this washi on a piece of cardstock, and then I just die cut the sentiment straight out of it so that the sentiment wasn't just plain navy. It has these shiny spots in it.
Getting thumbs up for it.
So that's just background washi too. Here's another one that isn't in your handout. I discovered it yesterday when I was going through all my cards. That's just, and this washi I love. It's got gold in it. You see that?
Yes.
It's great for wedding cards or anything like that, anniversary. And so I wanted just to show you a wide variety so that you can see all the different things you can do with them. So here we have our 4 cards of simply cover a panel with wide washi, and you can get a multitude of looks like super fast. You saw how long it took me to do that, to cover that, and I was trying to talk and do it. You can do it faster on your own. Then just put washi down the sides of a background panel, stick your washi panel on top with film tape, and put some embellishments and a cinnamon on it, and you're good to go. What do you think about that?
Thumbs up if you like it. Eunice, was it Eunice had her hands raised? Yeah, has her hand raised. I don't know if she has a question. If you do, go ahead and unmute yourself. And we're getting lots of thumbs up.
Okay, great. So the
Yeah.
next thing is, I'm trying to go by how I did it in the handout. Did you guys all get the handout? Yes, hopefully.
Thumbs up if you guys got the handout. Yep,
Good. Okay.
lots of people.
So the very-
Angie did not get it.
Who didn't?
Angie did not get it.
Okay.
And somebody else could not print it because she ran out of ink. Oh no.
Oh, okay. Well, Angie, if you got the invitation and you got the link for the Zoom, it's on the same email. It's attached as a PDF at the bottom. So you should have that because it was attached to that email, and you might have just not seen it there because it was just a little link at the bottom. But
Ellen,
go ahead and email me.
how can you Zoom meeting?
What?
Anyway, I'm going to go on and just put it in chat, your questions, because I need to keep moving.
Yep. Another friend brought the kit with that. Thank you, Di, in our
I don't
group.
think I'm muted.
Right. I'll mute you. In our group order, and she had told me to cut it so I'll be able to case that card. Would it be okay for me to share the handout with her? Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Of course. Yes. Okay, so the next category, so that first category I want to show you, just do a background, nothing else, just simple, cover the whole card with wide washi and you're done. In this, I wanted to show you some options of just using the wide washi in a few different ways. So in this one, you know, this is not my color. This is not what I would normally use, this wide washi, but I know it's probably great for a lot of people. But I just decided I'm going to make a card out of this and see what I can do. So what I did was I covered a sheet in the wide washi, and then I cut it diagonal, and then I used a 3D folder on this colored cardstock, and I just made the bottom part of the card the washi, and then I used this washi on the stripe right there across. You see that? This is all on the handout, which ones they are and everything. So, and then I just used glitter paper for the sentiment to pick up that gold in there. So, you know, I don't know if this isn't my favorite card because this is not really my style, but I just wanted to show you different styles today so that everybody will see something they like. But this concept of doing it only diagonal and having it split like this is another thing you can do with the wide washi. Another idea with the
Susan
wide
likes
washi.
it. She says it's pretty.
Who?
Susan and Brenoir, oh God, I'm mispronouncing her name again.
Bronwyn?
Yes,
Oh, Bronwyn. Hi, Bronwyn.
yes. She said, you could use a Cricut for die cut.
Yeah, you
Silly
can.
question, but do you use a Cricut for die cutting? Oh, do you use a Cricut
Oh,
for die cutting?
no, I don't. I wish I had one, but I don't. I use a Gemini Junior. I used to use a Big Shot, but with the arthritis in my hands, to make the manual ones are too hard for me. So I use a Gemini Junior and I love it. So so this is another idea with the wide washi. The card is not wide washi. It's actually cardstock with the with a, what is that called? The cross stitch canvas die. Can you see all the little hole? I don't know if you can.
Yes,
See
we
all the
can.
little holes in the background. So the
Mhm.
front panel is not washi, but the back panel has the tuxedo panel going this way and the dotted washi going this way to provide something that looks different than just plain black around the main panel. Do you see that? So I just wanted to show you that you can use your wide washi and trim it down and make it behind something so that it kind of frames another panel of whatever sort you want. But just the idea of using two different ones or the same one, and then having your corners of your cardstock stick out in a colored corner. You know, you could do anything you want with that, but that's another idea. So diagonal is one way. Using it behind your panel is another way. On this one,
And do you paste something over the back of the card to hide the tape?
no, because then I paste it straight onto, I connect it straight onto my my card base. So the front of the card base hides all the stuff on the back of the panel, right?
Mhm.
I don't have any of these on card bases because it's just too thick to store all of them that way. But I would just glue this straight onto my card panel of whatever, either that way or this way. And the card panel hides all of the stuff on the back. So I wanted to show you, you could do this too, because there's a lot of stitching dies out there these days. And I put a close-up of this on the handout too, but I don't know that it shows up. Can you see those stars in there?
Yes.
That is actually a stitching die. And what it does is it makes little holes. So it makes like a little pattern in the washi, but it doesn't actually cut through it like die cutting it. So I wanted to show you that another idea with the wide washi is to take shapes or circles or whatever you have that are stitching dies and not use them for stitching, but to use them to put patterns into your washi. So on this one, it's this washi. It's I don't know what it is. I think it's called Galaxy. I was trying to use as many as I could, and it looks like that. And then what I did was I ran it through with the Stitch Stars dies that I have, because I wanted to give the front more interest, but it's still basically the same as these first ones that we did, with it just being covered. It's basically the same, but instead of just leaving it plain, I thought I would add some interest with these stars. And so it actually imprints. So if you have any stitching dies, try them on that. And then I just used I used a white gel pen to put a whole lot more stars out there. And then I used the star, one of the star geometric 3D embossing folders on the edges, on the back panel.
Getting a lot of love it. It's really cool comments about this one.
Well, that's nice. Thank you. Like I said, I'm trying to show you like lots of different ideas with lots of different styles so that there'll be something for everybody. Because maybe you like, you know, really delicate flowers and vintage looks, and yet maybe somebody else will like something really bold like this one. So I'm just trying to show you a whole lot so that you will be inspired for your style. Now, this is one that I did for an Altenew blog hop just last week. And I couldn't show it to you until after it was already out. But I wanted to show you that this, I combined the washi on the back, and I used, and we're going to see some other cards in a minute, with using 3D embossing folders on top of washi. Can you see that?
Yes.
This isn't in your handout. I found it when I was looking through all my cards. So I use this to be an interesting point in the backdrop to highlight this panel, which is 3D embossed, and then use white pigment ink on it.
Laura wants to see that washi tape again.
Which washi tape?
I'm not sure which one.
Say which one and I'll show you.
The Galaxy.
Oh, okay. It's this one. Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome, honey.
And a lot of people love this flowered card that you're doing. So I have a
This one?
question.
Yes.
So you put the washi tape on the background and then embossed it?
Yes, and I'm going to show you that in 1 second here, because actually this should be in the next category, because that's what the next category is all about. So I'm going to show you some more of these. I'm going to put these 3 up that show you different ideas for the, we're still on wide washi and what you can do with it, and different ideas of how to design your card. So I'm going to put this one aside and show you these others too. Because this is something I love to do, is do washi with 3D embossing. Check this out.
That's just beautiful.
So all I did for this was I did the same thing that we did on the first cards. Cover a panel with washi and then run it through your die cut machine with the 3D embossing. And look at how gorgeous that turns out.
Stunning, gorgeous.
You know,
Lovely.
this is like me. This is like, I do a lot of cards this way because I love this look. But that's exactly what I did with the same tape on the back of this one. I used the same tape. It's called I don't know. I think it's called monochromatic. Wait a minute. I got to find it. Oh, I don't think I have it out here. Hold on. This is it. It's this one. So look at the difference between it just plain and run through the 3D. Can you see that next to each other?
Beautiful.
See the pattern in this one? That
Mhm.
raised pattern, floral pattern. I love that look, and it's so easy to do. And that's basically how that galaxy was with the stars also, but instead of it being a 3D imprint, it was a, it imprinted the little dots into it. So there's those 2, but here's another one, completely different. This is done with that blue and gold one that I showed you before, and this is done with one of the diamond. See that pattern?
Yes, we can see that.
Okay, that's a 3D embossing. I wanted to make it really geometric. You can see it says "You Rock." I made this with a teenager kind of in mind, and I wanted it to be real geometric looking. So this and this are completely different looks, but they're done exactly the same way. Cover the background with washi, with the wide washi, and run it through with one of the 3D embossing folders. So there's that one. Here's another one. I used "You Rock" on this too. I wanted it to look like waves, and so I used the waves 3D embossing. And I used it on some watercolor. Let's see, it's this one.
What 3D embossing folder did you use on the monochromatic flower one?
On the monochromatic flower one, let me look. It's on all of this is on your handout. It's all on there. It's the Whimsical Bouquet. It's on your handout. It's down here at the bottom of the page 4, and it has all the supplies over here.
Okay, great.
So monochrome wide washi, Whimsical Bouquet 3D embossing folder, vellum for the sentiment, the fancy greeting stamp set is for the sentiment, and I did the sentiment and antique silver embossing full powder. So they're all the supplies are listed right there. And like I said, if you click on that the front page, there's a there's a link on the first page to the supplies that are all listed in alphabetical order, and you can find them there. So this one, I just was wanting to do something different for me. And so I used these two washies and just wanted to make it look kind of nautical. So I used the Ribbon Waves 3D embossing folder. And the washi for this is this one, which is, I think called Blue Watercolor. But I don't want you don't have to use all, the same washi or anything. You can use what you've got at home, but I just want to show you different options and see, this is how this looks, just plain. But again, look at it next to it with it 3D embossed. Look at the different look you can get. Do you like that?
Yes.
See, I really like that. I think I was thinking about doing a workshop sometime on adding texture and dimension to cards, because it looks so much better on a card to have depth and dimension to it than just a flat look like this. It makes it so much more interesting. And 3D embossing is one of the easiest ways to do that. And it's so much fun to figure out cards and which ones, how you want to match them. Now on the handout up here by the one that has the gold circle, there's a link on the digital handout to a YouTube washi tutorial where I actually make this card and at least one more. I might make two more, I don't remember. So if you're interested in that, you can see that on my YouTube channel, and there's a link there for you. This one is my fun.
Josie Ann says, Altenew needs to share this workshop with all of their customers and they will sell lots of their washi.
Well, you let them know that. See, the thing is that I can't say that, can I? So you can just decide to write to somebody at Altenew and tell them that. That would be great. I would love that. But, I can't do that type of thing. So anyway, this was my fun hoop-de-doo card that I just decided to do something fun. And so for this, I took the painted stripes washi, which that's the background here. It's all these kind of wonky rainbow stripes. And I ran it through with the star, what is it? It's the Diamond Stars 3D 3D embossing folder. And I just decided for fun, I was going to try to tie some tulle around here. So that's what I did. And anyway, another crazy card.
That's a perfect bow. You did a great job.
Oh, thanks. I've never tied tulle on a card before, but I thought, hey, I want it to be really celebratory. And so why not try it, So here you go. These are examples. I had so many more because I make so many cards this way, but these are all examples I wanted to show you of using 3D embossing folders to get texture and real interest in your cards just using the wide washi and the 3D. That's it. And it's so easy, and it just turns out, no matter what style you are going for, it turns out looking great. So that's that. Let me pause and take a sip of my drink here for a minute and wet my whistle, so to speak, and see if there's any questions or comments.
I think I'm up to date with the questions. If I'm not, I apologize. Just ask it again and I'll try to.
Is everybody tracking along? Okay.
Give us thumbs up if you guys are doing okay. 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, 12, 14. Everybody's giving thumbs up.
Okay. I don't want to go too fast. I don't want to go too slow, and it's really hard to gauge. How many do we have here right now, Lori?
We have 44 people here right now.
Awesome. Awesome.
And
okay.
Bronwyn, did I say it right? Bronwyn? Bronwyn,
yes. I have known Bronwyn for 30 something years.
Oh, wow.
And she lives in California, where I used to live.
She says these are amazing.
Thank you, sweetie.
And I agree with her.
Thanks, Lori. This should have been in the last category, but I separated it out because this is this. And you can see it doesn't look like, hold on, pull out the first card. Why does this not look like this when it's made the same way? Well, it's because what I did on this one was I did this, and then I took a piece of vellum and I used the double-sided adhesive sheets, and I put that on the back of the vellum, and then I put it on top of the washi. So there's washi and then adhesive sheet that's clear, and then vellum. So this has a layer of vellum over the top. And then I went through the 3D, and you can see how much it toned it down. So if you have a bright washi that you want to do this with, but you want it to be softer looking, put a layer of vellum on the top. And then you can see I did the organic linen 3D on there. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is a tip. If you have something that's really bright, I mean, I probably wouldn't do it with rainbow, you know, but you never know, maybe I would. But if you have something that's really bright and you don't want it this bright, put a layer of vellum over it before you do the 3D. So just do vellum with a double. Do you guys know what I'm talking about with the double-sided adhesive sheets?
Yes. Yeah,
Maybe,
I think
maybe
so.
you don't. Let me see if I have one around here.
Tina would like to ask you a question. Tina, I can't do the unmuting. I can only mute. So you can unmute yourself so you can ask your question.
Okay, thank you, Lori. Sandy, go back to the card where you had the stitch stars, the one we all liked.
The stars, the galaxy one?
Right, right.
Yes.
I just wanted to know, the stars, did you run those through as embossing?
No, I ran it through just like regular because they're not meant to cut all the way through. They are, but just those little holes are cut through. And in the washi tape, because you've got a card panel behind it, you cannot, it's just impossible to see that they're actually holes cut all the way through. I ran it through just like a regular die.
I
Just
got
like a
you.
regular die.
So the die just imprints the stitch.
It just imprints that on, yeah.
Okay,
So
thank you.
If you have hearts that are stitching dies or anything like that, you can do that with those.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, honey.
Love these cards.
Thanks,
They're
sweetie.
awesome.
Okay, so does everybody get it? I'm sure you do, that if you want to soften something, put the vellum with the adhesive sheet. Now, I'm pretty sure I do this in that same washi tape 3D tutorial on YouTube. So check it out, and I will go through it step by step and show you how to do it on there. Okay, so the next category, we switch to using like the washis that are this wide, not that wide, this wide, kind of the medium washi. Let me catch up here.
You could probably use regular dies in emboss too, Kathy says.
Yes, I bet you could, and I haven't tried doing that. So Kathy, if you do it, let us see it, okay? Put it on the Facebook page if you try it. So the next one is using smaller strips of washi to accent behind your focal point of flowers or whatever. So here is one that I did with that tuxedo.
Hold on just a sec. Do you know quickly the name of your YouTube channel?
Sandy's Poema. There's a link. If you use that link to go to that video, you can get to my channel that way. I didn't put an actual link to the channel there, but if you use that link that I have in here to go to the washi tutorial, you can get to my channel that way, and it's Sandy's Poema.
Okay.
So anyway, here I actually use wide washi, but I cut it down to a 2-inch panel. This is pattern paper. So we're getting into a little bit more complicated cards, not too bad, but a little bit. I use pattern paper This I used the Tuxedo Washi, and I just cut it down to a 2-inch panel so that I could highlight the focal point of these just black and white flowers. So this whole section is going to show you that you can use these smaller panels to help your focal point pop out. So that's card 1. This is another one that I did for Altenew for an Altenew. In fact, I think both of these were for one of their new releases. This is the Craft a Flower Azalea. And if you can see on the side, I use this washi tape down this left side because I just wanted to have it be a little bit accented behind the flowers. And so again, use a smaller, narrower tape. This on the sides here is the 1/2 inch. It's not, this is the inch, but it's the 1/2 inch gold washi on the side panels here. I make a lot of cards like this because I just like the way it looks framed, but that's just my thing. But if you want to do it, you just can use the 1/2 inch washi on the back and just flip it over. See how I just lined it on the sides and let that be behind the card panel. And then this is the other leaf washi. Now this one has the graph die cut washi that actually comes, let's see if I have it. I thought I got them all out, but it's almost impossible to get all of them out. Let's see here. That's not it. Here it is. This comes just like this. And there's actually a peel off back to it. So, and one of my cards that I made for the upcoming release, I used this in a scene as a picket fence. Just because for some flowers, you know, I put it down like here and had the flowers coming out like that because I thought it kind of looked like a picket fence. So you can do whatever you want with it, but I find this white geometric looks really great behind flowers. So here's one where I used it with it. And then here's another one that I used with that, just to give it a little bit of an oomph that you might not get otherwise. So, so these are all having the smaller little panels of either the wide washi cut down or the medium size washi like this. And there's a lot of these medium washis, but I use them in different ways. And so you'll see more of them down the road. But I think this is a really great way to help behind your focal point to make it kind of pop and to give your cards more interest and more dimension. Because if I just put these flowers on this background, it wouldn't look near as striking, I guess is the right word, of this popping out like that white. And
Tina suggests you could color the washi tape.
yes, you can color this too, and you can color it with alcohol markers. So, so that was this session, but then I'm going to show you 3 cards because I want to show you that you can take, I forget who it was that was using a lot of card like layouts. I forget what they're called, but where they're just like a drawing and then they have a, you know, they'll have a circle here and a, you know, some kind of a card layout, and you can just duplicate that in a lot of cards.
Card sketches.
Yeah, card sketches. So I don't usually use those, but I wanted to show you, I had made these over the years. I've made these 3 cards with the same elements, exactly the same, other than the sentiments are a little bit different, but they get 3 totally different looks to them using the same flower and just different colors. So this one is black and white and red. And again, I used Tuxedo, and I just did a stamped sentiment that I clear embossed on there. This one looks completely different in its feel to that one because I used that blue monochrome tape that I cut down. And then I used a background stamp of these little dots and did a round sentiment. And then this one, I did a dry embossing of the Classy Stripes stencil. My brain, sorry you guys, threw a blank there for a minute. The Classy Stripes stencil I dry embossed on the back for some texture. And then I used this smaller washi tape and did it that way. So the reason I want to show you these is to say you can use the same patterns and even the same flowers with different color inks and different color everything and have it look completely different from each other. Does that make sense to you? I just wanted to show you how you can kind of use the same idea and use it different ways.
You don't have to keep reinventing the wheel.
Exactly, Lori. Thank you for saying it that way. So, okay, now we're going to move on to skinny washi. So,
Sandy, just so you know, I need to step away for a minute and I will be right back.
okay, sweetie. Yeah, today's a lot of show and tell because, I just want to show you different ways to use different types of washi. I think most of us have tons of the skinny washi, don't you? And see, I can't see your reactions. Lori has it up on her screen, but my, oh my, I've got lots of just generic this type of washi out there that I bought before I was involved with Altenew. And since I have been through the AACP and been an educator, I try to buy their products because I do these workshops for them and have to focus on Altenew products. But I mean, I know you've got a lot of your own washi out there of thin washi. So this, I want to show you, you can use the thin washi in a lot of different ways to highlight your focal points again. So on this card, I just used 2 strips of the thin washi down the side.
I'm back.
Good. I used the darker, the same grouping for the sides. And then I just did a 3D diamonds pattern in the background on the card panel and then the flowers. But you can see how those 2 little stripes running behind here, you wouldn't think it'd make much difference, but it really does. So I want to encourage you to start experimenting doing this type of thing. Even when you're just going to make a card with some flowers, do something where you actually adds a little bit of washi behind it and see the difference that it makes. It really does. It adds a lot of dimension and color and texture. Now on this one, well, where did I use washi? Right down here. I did on the green, I'm trying to get it at an angle where you can see it. I did dry embossing on the green. Can you see the stripes there?
I can, yes.
Yeah, I did a dry embossing of a stencil. Then I did a strip of washi because I didn't want the card to just be green, green, and green. So I wanted to get a little bit of interest in it. So I used, I don't have it here, but I used the other color wave, one of the other color waves of this kind of washi that has some gold in it down here. But this one has pink and green and gold in it. So don't be afraid to just do things like this where you just get a patterned washi and just do one little thin stripe on, and it really will make an impact. On this one, this isn't in your handout. I found it yesterday in one of my endless card panel boxes. This one I had done these flowers and I thought, well, with those colors, they'd actually go with this washi. And I thought that will make those flowers pop out if I do that on the edging. So I did both edges with that same metallic pink and green and gold. And it has black in it. So I had used the black for my outline of the flowers. And then I put a gold sentiment so it would tie in the gold in this tape. So I used it on both edges for this one.
Tiffany would like to know how you got it on so straight. Do you have any tips to apply those
Trial and error. But here's the thing. Here's the beautiful thing about it. When you take a piece of cardstock and you take your thin washi and you're going to go it on the edge, you know, you just try to get it on the edge and then just move it up till you see it all lined up, and that's it. But then if you say, oh, wait, I've got white showing there, guess what? You just take it off and do over.
It peels up so easily.
It peels off so easily. You can do it 2 or 3 times without messing it up. So I'm not right over it because of the camera, but. And then here, I'm going to put it up just a little and just like that. But my favorite way of applying washi, like I told you before, is to do the little thicker washi and then fold it over the back, and you don't have to worry about getting it right on the edge. However, doing this, you do need to get it right on the edge. And, you know, your other option is to glue it straight onto a wider card panel and then cut it along there. And I suppose you could do that too. I've never done it, but you could, to make sure that you can then cut it right along the edge of the washi and have it straight. I don't know. I haven't done that, but I think it would work. So this one is actually washi on the sides too. It's this washi that's called, oh, I forget. But anyway, can you see it's got a little mustardy pattern there? It's got a little brown and mustard pattern to it. Can you see that? On the washi, on the edge?
Yeah, we can see that.
Yeah, it, I thought it would be a good, I was using the same colors in these flowers, and I just thought having a little pattern on the sides would make the card lift it up another level. This one is different. I made an all black card, which I rarely do, but I thought I'm going to try this out. And I put gold cardstock as the back panel. And then I put 3 strips. Well, I put 2 strips of the colors, and I put this gold in between the 2 here to make this card that's all monochromatic black and gold, to give it that punch of color, so that it didn't
Beautiful,
look
very dramatic. Yep.
It's very dramatic. You know, it depends on what feeling you want. And like I said, I try to do a lot of different feeling because everybody has their own elements, or you're sending a card to somebody different who's got a different personality, or it's a different occasion. And so you want to use the same techniques, but step it up with a different look, you know. So now this one's really wild and crazy for me, but I did it for a friend with a wild and crazy personality. Of course, she hasn't gotten it yet because I keep showing it on these things. But this is the problem. Okay, all these cards were made for people, but they haven't gotten them yet. Okay, so this is actually, and you can see I actually wrote in this card. I haven't sent it yet because I showed it 3 or 4 times. So I use the same, you know, there's 4 different ones of these different washi tapes. There's 4 different color schemes of them. So I use those on the side, and I used a cross diagonal to give it again, so it wouldn't be totally purple and white. But it's kind of wild and crazy for a wild and crazy friend. Now this one I wanted to show you, I did something different. And what I did, I don't have the yellow tapes right here, but there are these tapes that are this wide that are coordinating. And what I did on this one, if you can see, there's like a thin orange, light orange on the side. Then there's a thicker, darker orange. And then there's 2 thin strips. Well, this is all from the coordinating washi that's this width. And what I did, I'm not going to do it on the edge here, but what I did is I just did stripes with and overlapped them. So I did a medium one. Oops, can I get this started here? So I did a medium strip. I'm not going to do it on the edge of the card, but I'm just showing you the idea. So I put this down. Then I wanted the darkest one to be a little wider. So what I did, I wanted this to be thin, so I overlapped and made that one thin so that it looks like thin washi, but it's not thin washi. And I wanted this to be a little bit thicker. Then I wanted the next darkest to be narrow. So this comes just from layering wider washi. So, oh, I tore it. There we go. So you can do all kinds of things with this. So I made that one wider. Then I made this one, I'm going to make narrow and do the lightest one narrow also. Like this. And I'm going to fold these to the back. And then if I put the floral panel on top of this to make that last one look thin, you can see how it goes thin, thin, thicker, thin. And I did that all with this width by overlapping them. Does that make sense to you guys? Do you understand what I'm saying here? That's what I did with these. I did a thin edge, then a thicker, wider tape, then a small and small, but they're all this wide. And I
Got a lot of thumbs up for that.
I did a lot by just overlapping them. So you can get lots of different looks. Maybe you want this wider one to be a floral tape and you only have the wide floral tape. That's okay. Just cover it up with other tape. And it, you know, you can do a lot of imagination. Let your imagination run wild with that, right? This card has a 3D panel that I inked beforehand, which you can look at on our 3D embossing folder tutorial. It's on my YouTube channel. We did a workshop on 3D folders back in July. How many of you guys were there? A lot of you, I think. I don't know. I think we looked at 30 different ways of using 3D folders or something like that. And then I just did the inked flowers, but I did this to be a nice background to set off the focal point. So just remember, you can overlap and you can get different looks to make this border look. This one I had posted on my Facebook page a while back. This is actually fabric. And yes.
Sandy, could I ask a question about the orange card, please?
Yes.
So did you only emboss like the right side? Like, is there embossing underneath of where the washi tape is? Because I noticed that it looks smooth and not textured. So I just wanted to.
No, what I did was, let me look underneath here. I'm looking to see how I made this because I did it a long time ago. Okay, what I found is this. I did the whole panel 3D embossed. And then what I did is I did this tape on top of an extra piece of cardstock, just like I just did, and cut it so that it's this wide. So I just have this panel and that's glued on top of this. So it covers up the bumpies.
Gotcha. Smart. Thank you.
Yeah, I had forgotten what I did. I made that a long time ago. So this is actually another strange experiment for me, but I have a whole lot of fabrics, novelty fabrics left over from when I was sewing. And so I love these cats. And I challenged myself to make a card that highlighted these cats. They're Laurel Birch cats. They're so pretty and bold. And so I used the rounded rectangles dies, and I made a panel of this tape, and then I cut it out with the rounded rectangles. It's complicated. I don't have time to show you how to do it, but just experiment. Just think about ways you can use these kinds of washis as highlights for whatever your focal point is. And on this card, I actually took black cardstock. You can see how shiny it is. I took a piece of black cardstock and just clear embossed the whole piece so that it would be shiny, because I wanted it to, I just wanted that look for it. So it's very bold and very bright. And the sentiment says, be your own kind of awesome. And that's what I kind of wanted to convey with that card. But if you have any fabrics, I've posted several fabric cards on the Facebook page, and I have more that I still have to do. There's lots of ways you can use fabric and cards, and it's so much fun to try. So are there any questions on that little category of cards together about using thin tape behind your focal points and on your edges? Or
Somebody wanted to know if it was on your YouTube channel, and I answered back that this one will be on your YouTube channel.
This will be on, and I have a 3D workshop that we did back in July that's on there. And I have.
She wants to know, July 2021 embossing folder workshop. Is that on your YouTube channel?
That's it. Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
And if it's like 2 hours long, you can tell it's the workshop and it's not a tutorial, because they're uncut.
How do you attach your fabrics to the paper?
You know what I discovered just by experimenting? It works great with those double-sided adhesive sheets. Just put one side on your fabric and use your bone folder and get it all smooth, and then take the lining off or the release paper off and put it on a piece of cardstock, and you're good to go. It also cuts back on the fraying around the edges. I don't ever use a raw edge, but just to say, on the panels that you use, even if you cover it up, the sticky paper, the sticky adhesive behind it helps it not to fray. So have fun with that. So here's some other narrower tapes. Let me catch up in my handout. Oh, there's a gold Christmas card there with gold tape, and I couldn't find it. I think I sent it to someone, but I still had the picture, and I thought, oh, that'll be a good one for that section. And then look what happened. So I'm sorry for a few glitches like that. I was trying to find the maximum number that I could have that would give you different examples. So now this one shows you how you can use narrow washi to highlight your focal point, but not in straight lines, just any old way you want to put them. What difference do you think this makes versus the card that just has the black by itself behind the flowers? What difference would that make? Does that make? Type in your chat what you think.
I'm not, oh, wait a minute, a lot of difference. Makes it pop.
It makes it pop. It gives
different point of interest.
It gives it a point of interest. It gives it texture. It gives it depth. It's amazing. And these are just these little thin washi tapes like that. Any
Sets
pattern.
the flower off. Yep.
No, any pattern washi, you could do a flower and do like little floral tapes or like that on a pastel background or on a green background, do little floral tapes. Look fabulous. And it's just somebody across. And one thing I do want to tell you though, and this is a really good example of it, I didn't care all that much on here, but you need to be aware that washi tape, a lot of it is transparent. And so if I wanted these to really look white on here, I would need to put them on some white cardstock and then use the little cardstock stripe to put on there. So let me show you what I'm talking about here.
Somebody wanted to know if all these were Altenews, and I said yes, but now I'm not sure. Are all the washi tapes you're showing from Altenew?
They're all from Altenew because they publicize and market these. These are technically my workshops, but because for their educators, they will market your workshops for you and put it out in an email and all that kind of thing. You need to use, for these workshops, I have to use Altenew products. So these are all Altenew.
And that is exactly what I said. There's so many, there's
Yeah,
some I
well,
don't
you know,
recognize, and I
I
wasn't
try
sure.
to collect them and I bought a bunch extra for this workshop. So did anybody else use that 20% discount? And then there was a 40% discount on the site, and we don't get an extra discount as educators really. So I use the same things you do. But anyway, what I wanted to show you is you can see on this one, I think you can see that it's kind of transparent and it's a little bit grayed down on the black paper versus this where it looks super white because it's on white cardstock. So if I wanted this, if it mattered to me, and I didn't because I was fine in a totally black and white card to have shades of gray, but if I wanted it to be really white and pop it off, I would have made it like this, and then I would have taken my long scissors or my trimmer and trimmed, like as if I can do this very well.
That
But
would be hard.
I would have trimmed
Sarah,
it like
Sarah said
that
she likes
and put
how
it
the
on like that.
Sarah says she likes how the transparency of the washi helps to give depth with the tulips,
Yes,
as though they're, the washi tape is further back. And somebody
Right.
wants to know how you store all these washi tapes.
well, I store my little ones like this on these rings. There's that mustardy colored one I was telling you about. It looks like this.
And where do you get those rings from?
I'll give you
That's
three.
going to be the that's going to be the next question.
Yeah, I'll give you three guesses. What did I say about living in Alaska?
Amazon.
Amazon washi tape rings. I discovered them one day and thought I would try them. And so I keep all my little ones like that. And then my big ones, I don't know if you can see in this picture, my husband built me a little shelf back here and all the big wide ones fit on like this. There's a lot of empty ones right now because here, maybe I can
can't see that.
move this camera over. Can you see that? I can't tell what you're seeing.
No, because we're still looking at your table.
Okay. Well, anyway, my husband, when we're done and we get the me big up there, you'll be able to see. There's a little, I can see me up on my screen now, so I thought maybe you could too, but I guess not.
I can. I don't know. Tina's shaking her head yes. So
Okay. Well, I have a shelf.
but I've got so many screens on that I can't see everything anyway.
Okay.
Too busy
Well, I
watching
have a
the
little
chat.
shelf back there that my husband built for me that works really great, and I'll show it to you when we get me on the big screen again with the other camera. So anyway,
Okay.
that's my point here, is just depending on whether you want it to look transparent or you want it to look, like a matte finish with the white behind it. You have to decide which way you're going to use it. So that's for this card. This next card, I just challenged myself. This is not my cup of tea, but I bought one of the scrapbooking kits from ALTENEW, and I think this is called Enjoy the Ride, and it comes with washi tape. Some of them are really thin and some of them are wider. And I thought, well, I will try to do this because I wanted to illustrate that you can, and then I just used the ephemera pack that was in the thing to try to make a card just with the scrapbooking materials. But what I wanted to illustrate this is you can use these striped washi's, any of the different widths, mix and match, and do like a cross like this, put one down like this, and then one like this, and then, alternate them and make like a point of interest. I probably shouldn't have put these big flowers on here because you can't see this where they cross here, but then you would put your focal point right here and it really makes it pop, or you can do it up here. Are you guys familiar with the rule of thirds? Does anybody know what that is?
Do a thumbs up if you know. Oh yeah, we've got a few people know what that is.
Okay,
Not
well,
a lot.
I'm going to tell you is that, let's see if I have my thing under here. Hold on, I'll show you what I'm talking about. I have a grid with it on, but I don't know if I have it right here. Yeah, I do. It's filthy, but you can see it. Okay. If I have a piece of cardstock, oh, I don't have a blank one, but here on this one. I have dots here, 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 and here. Can you see those little dots on my transparency of a
We
card?
can.
Well, the rule of thirds, this is a third of the way down the card. This is a third of the way up from the bottom. And of course, then you have your center third. So the rule of thirds is that it's really good to put your sentiment or to put a focal point, if you have an otherwise kind of blank card, to put it at one of the intersections of the thirds. So to put it here, or here, or here, or here. And or if you're going to do a painted background, let's say, or a sky and the sky and land, you might want to put your line for your land right down here at this third and make these 2/3 the sky and clouds. So there's this thing in art. I am not an artist. I've never taken art in my life. So this is all stuff I learned in the AACP and just from watching a lot of video tutorials. So I am far from an expert, but I did learn this rule of thirds is in art. It's a big deal. And it's where your eye is drawn. So that's why on this card where I made this X, which is underneath these flowers, it intersects at this intersection right here of thirds. And then you put your flower there. So obviously I probably shouldn't use these big flowers to use as an example, but it was what it was in the ephemera pack. But anyway, just know you can do stripes this way and stripes that way, or stripes vertical, and on this third do stripes across and put something at this intersection up here, and it will look and have trailers coming down diagonal here from a flower here, and it will catch people's eye really, really well on that upper third quadrant. Does that make sense to people? Did I explain that okay? Thumbs up,
Yeah,
or
thumbs
yes
up.
or whatever.
Yeah, we're getting thumbs up. Yep.
Okay, so that's the rule of thirds, and it's kind of important in art design. And then here's the last one in this particular category of using thin washi. And what I did is I just made a diamond. I just alternated them and made kind of a diamond pattern on white cardstock. And then I'm not sure if I'm happy with what I did, because I did a 3D diamond pattern over it, and they don't exactly line up perfect. So my perfectionism went nutso when I did this and thought, oh, I'm going to throw it away. And then I decided, no, to just looking at it, it looks great. But if I start looking at it really in detail, I get kind of irritated with myself. So, but
You got a
looks
lot
good.
of, wow, cool, very pretty. I like this. So people
So
like that.
Then what I did was that I wanted my sentiment to be the focal point, because there's no flowers or anything. And this is my focal point. So this all highlights that middle point. And I used a diamond die to put, to cut out a panel and put it on foam tape and raise it up across the background for my sentiment. So anyway, don't be afraid to try these kind of things. Now, I am not an Altenews salesperson in the least. I really am not, because I like using all kinds of products. But again, in here I use Altenews products. But like I showed you the wide washi tape, these have these, their color families for their inks. The tapes come in the same color families, a lot of them. So they have 4 coordinating colors, and that's what I used on here. And I do find that I like the fact that they have all this coordinated with their inks, because then you can mix and match and know that it's all going to go together, instead of trying to just use a lot from different places and wonder if it's going to look okay. So that's what I used on this, because it was really easy to do all 4 and know that they could coordinate well. Okay, I need another sip. Anybody else want to make a comment or ask a question while I'm taking a drink here of my?
Someone wanted to know where the discount code was, and Sharon said it was, Joe Sand said it was 20% off good through March 21st. But where would they have found that discount code? Or do
No.
you usually put those codes for your classes?
Every workshop that I do, ALTENEW offers a 20% discount on whatever products I'm using. And this time I was able, really, Aram, if you know who Aram Tasmin is, she works with me on this, and she was able to negotiate with the powers that be, because I said, I'm using all kinds of washi. I'm not highlighting 3 different types of washi. I'm using everything. So she was able to negotiate for me a 20% discount off of all the washi. But here's the thing. It only lasts for a couple of weeks, and you have to be in that couple of week span or you don't get the discount. So when you register, that's why I have you send me an email, because not only do I send you the Zoom invite by email and the handout by email, but when I get that discount code, I send that to you by email if you have already registered. If you have not registered until the end, then you don't get the code, because it was early on and it expired March 21st. So I have no control over that. I just have to tell you the dates that they give me, and I can't adjust them. So for the May 15th, I don't even have a code yet. I'm not sure what they're going to give it to me for. I'm hoping they're going to give me a 20% on all their alcohol markers, but that's probably a stretch, but that's what I asked for. So we'll see what it comes down to and how much they give me and over what products. But in order to be able to do that for any of my workshops, you have to sign up early. That's why this time for the May one, the people who are in my Facebook group I gave an early registration option for them. The regular registration doesn't open until April 15th. And so, that's kind of where it's at. Does that make sense? So I will email you, and that's why you have to email me personally to get on the list that has all the communication going with it. It's the only way that I can keep it straight with 80 or 100 people that I have to communicate with every workshop. Does that make sense to you? I hope so.
Yeah. And it's important that you read the whole email. If you guys are anything like me, I'll skim through it, whatever, it doesn't matter whose email. I'll skim through it and try to pick out the things I need to, and then sometimes just skip. Oh shoot, there was a discount code in that. I missed it. Yeah. So it's important to read the whole thing.
It is important to read the whole thing, because I try to put only important points in there so that we can be as organized and as all on one page as possible, because I don't like things that are confusing or kind of nebulous. So I try to do that as much as I can. Okay, so now we're moving along to using narrower washi tape, but using it as a focal point. Before, we were using narrower washi tape behind our flowers or whatever was our focal point. Now we're going to actually use washi tape to be the focal point. Now we did the wide washi tape at the beginning to be the focal point because we covered the whole panel. But now we're going to see cards that have smaller, narrower washi tapes being the focal point. So this is the first one. For this, I used this in the middle and then strips of these on both sides. And this one I did do on white cardstock, and you can see how that pops out really bright white. And that's why I did it on white, because I really wanted the contrast between the white and the black. So I made the center console. No, it's not a console. What? The center panel as the actual focal point. And then I cut this sentiment out of dotted wash, black and white washi, to even give it a further punch to it. I took black cardstock and I just did white ink splashes on the black cardstock. And then this white panel also has been run through with the organic linen. Can you see the texture on the white?
Yes.
And the edging. So a lot of texture going on, a lot of interest, but still I don't like it being totally hectic. I like it to be structured, but with a lot of interest. Hopefully that makes sense too. It's hard to know exactly how to communicate that concept, but anyway, and this Aztec tape I bought because I wanted to challenge myself to use it, because I thought I will never use that tape, this middle one. However, I really like it on there, so I'm glad that I got it. And I can see, especially this would be a really good masculine card. Very geometric, black and white. You know, it would be a good masculine card with a different sentiment maybe. This one is also all washi tape. Now, can you see the different ones? There's the rose one, there's the striped gold, dotted gold, the roses again with gold in them, a gold stripe, then a space, then the roses and the dots. I used this, these, and a couple of the gold. I love this roses one, and it has gold on it. It's so pretty. So all I did was I made diagonal stripes of all of these washi, and I left a space from here to here on the white cardstock, and then I cut my sentiment out of gold cardstock, gold shiny cardstock, and put the sentiment in. Another really easy thing to do with your patterned narrower card or washis is just make your own pattern out of them. What do you think of that one?
I like that one.
Do you like that one?
We're getting thumbs up and hearts.
And- Yes.
Somebody, now I can't see who, said that you could, the one with the Aztec print on it, the black and white one, you could color that Aztec print in too, if you
That's true,
wanted
you
to
can.
have a little pop of color in there.
Oh, so true. Okay,
A
this
lot
is
of people think that one was pretty, this one that you just had. A lot of people like that.
well, it's feminine, you know, that's kind of my thing, but this is far from that. This is very masculine, isn't it? Or little boy or whatever. And I used this color wave of the tapes and just did a whole panel of it. And then I cut it out with the die that has like a deckled edging on it. I just die cut that, put it on a 3D embossed back panel. And just for fun, I used some burlap ribbon and just some gears that I had in left over from something, just to say, you know, there's a big difference between this and this, but they're both made with narrow washi tape. So I just am wanting you to see you can get so many different looks from the same products. That's what makes, and washi's cheap compared to everything else. It, you know, and it's easy. Look at this different one. Oops. In all of my moving this around, I kind of bent it. But anyway, look at this one. Now, what's the highlight? What is the focal point of this card? Besides the sentiment. It's this middle panel, isn't it? These all just highlight that middle panel, and the middle panel is washi. Now, we've changed, because before we said we're putting our washi in to highlight our cardstock or our floral images or whatever. Now we're using the cardstock to highlight the washi, and the washi is the focal point. And this is another of my very, very, very favorite washi tapes. I love this tape. And
It is pretty. Yeah, we're getting,
and it has gold on the edges. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. And I cut the sentiment out of it also. So that's a super feminine card.
yep. Sarah says, what I love about the direction cut border one is that I can do it with 3-inch wide machine using usually bigger effects cut on the front.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Sarah, exactly what you've written. If you want, Sarah, if you want to unmute yourself and say it out loud, that'd be great.
Okay, usually bigger die cut effects on the front of a card usually require being able to send the whole card front through. So
Mhm.
this one, when I realized, wait, I can do this one with the 3-inch wide machine, I was just like, that is so awesome.
Yeah, you can do that. And it depends on the width of your washi. Now this washi is only that wide. So I had to bring this cardstock down to here, but if you had a wider washi, you could just do edgings on the top and the bottom. You know, it's to your own discretion, but look at, this is the same tape. So you can see that you can use it different ways. And on this one, I just used it on the very bottom of the main panel. And then I used lavender metallic cardstock for the big sentiment, and then there's a sub sentiment down here. 2 different looks, same washi. So it's just, I love working with this because there's so much variety that you can get from using the same products. But we're still moving along here. I better hurry up here. Okay, so
It is 3:30.
yeah, I know, and I'm keeping going. So the next section is die cutting your sentiments out of washi, just like that other one that I did. Here's one. And this says friend across it. I think it should be able to be seen on the camera. It's much easier to see in person. This again is this same washi. I die cut I used ivory cardstock, not white. I used ivory cardstock behind this to cut it out. And then I used ivory panels on the front and the back. And I put the washi on the edging as well to bring the color in. So this is a really easy and really, it's very simple, but it's really kind of stunning in person. It's pretty cool looking. Now this one, I used this tape. Again, I bought it for this. Seashells are not my thing, but I wanted to show you this. And what I did was I took these tapes again, same ones. And if this is my card here, I did them diagonal like that, just in stripes all the way, running right up to each other, all the way diagonal across. Then I put my letter dies for the sentiment up and down straight on the diagonals. So you can see these diagonals cut across these letters, the different colors cut across the letters like that. So it makes it really interesting looking. And all I did was use those tapes diagonal and then put the letters on straight across the stripes. And it made this whole thing, it shows up better in person, the different colors, but there's these diagonal stripes through the letters. So that's another thing you can do to make your sentiment interesting with washi tape. And so on this, I did the bottom as that washi tape. I did a little stripe with a little narrow washi tape. Then I did some fussy cutting of these out to put there. And the backing is also the darker washi tape, the edging. So this is pretty much all washi tape card. And then, okay, we are up to, let's see. Oh, here's another one with washi, almost all washi. I used gray cardstock, and then this is my other favorite that I absolutely love, this washi tape. It's gray and plum-ish purple with the gold on it. So I did that on the bottom, gray cardstock, and then I did striped gold washi that I just put like, on a piece of cardstock and then just die cut the one die out of it just to give it a little bit of interest. Really easy. This is actually, these edgings are actually the bottom of this washi. So I just put the bottom edge along both of these sides on the back so that it would match this. And then I cut it off and I put these on a piece of press and seal so it wouldn't lose its stickiness, and I'm going to use them on another card. But these edges are this because I did not want it to be a different color. So what do you think of that?
Tina wants to know what the name of that washi tape is. And Tina,
It is
just so
on
you
your, it is on your,
on the handout.
on the
And Tina,
handout.
just so you know, you're only direct messaging me. You're not direct messaging to the whole group. Just so you know that. It doesn't matter. I can still answer your questions. But if you wanted the whole group to know, it's only coming to me.
Okay, here's another one. This is wild and crazy, but I had fun doing it. So what I did was that I covered a piece of cardstock, the whole panel, like we did at the beginning, with this one. Then what I did, let's say I put it out like this on a piece of cardstock. Then what I did was I took this one. This was me playing, okay? And this is not terribly me either in terms of my style, but I just wanted to see what would happen. So I put this over this on the bottom of the card. Then I layered cardstock. This is the actual piece I cut this out of. I used this one on a piece of white cardstock, and then I used gold tape on the bottom of it. Can you see the gold tape right there?
Mm-hmm.
And then I lined my, this yellow piece of tape is on here as a guideline for putting the bottoms of my letters on. And then I lined them up. I put the gold tape where it would cut right across the middle of the letters because I wanted a gold stripe on the bottom of my letters. So I lined them up and I cut them out like this, and they turned out like this. And I put them on top here, and then I thought it needed more, so I put 3 gold stripes down here. So there you have it. But I wanted to show you how you could line up washi and cut letters out to be different colors or different highlights. I know that's wild, but what do you think?
People love it.
That what?
They love it.
Really? Oh, good. This is me just saying, well, see, this is what I tell you every time.
Putting these tapes together makes the splatter one look like rocks in space, but everything is lit with red like it's a weird pocket dimension. Sarah says that.
Well, I just
And-
keep telling you guys every time, or whatever we do, when we did the stencils, I said the same thing. Experiment. Don't be afraid to try crazy things.
Yeah.
You know, because you just never know what's going to turn out. You just want to keep trying and saying, I wonder what would happen if I did this. You know, I wonder
Right.
what would happen if I did that, because you just never know. And you will discover
just the end.
things that you can use again, and it's going to be great. Okay, we're
Josie
moving
Ann
on. The
said-
next, what?
Josie Ann
Lori?
said that she loved the tip using the press and seal as an alternative to release sheets to park your extra piece of washi tape.
Yeah,
So
thank you. I was going to see. I also wanted to show you. I also keep all my washi that I die cut out of, or that I fussy cut out of, the extra panels, because, well, here's my press and seal right here with the tape on it. You can never tell when you might need, you know, some little flower. This is where I cut that the friend big die cut out of. But see, I can fussy cut around these and use them on something else. So I do keep all of my washi tape extras because I don't want to waste it. So
Sure.
that's another tip of what I do for that. Okay, we're moving on real quick to cutting flowers out of washi tape. So check this out. Now, the background layer of this is this, and the foreground layer is this, I think. And I just took one of the Craft a Flower rose, antique rose. I did the tuxedo tape on the back. I did the antique rose, and instead of cutting the flower layers out of cardstock, I cut them out of washi tape that's on cardstock. And I really like the look of that. I really like the way it looks. And then the leaves are fussy cut out of this tape. What do you think?
Laura says it's so clever. And
Yeah,
I agree. Yep.
and it's so easy. It's really easy. And it just looks really cool in person. It looks great. And then this one is kind of wacky, but I wanted to use these big black dots washi because I just wanted to do it, and I don't use it hardly ever. So I used that on the background, and then I did a debossing die on it that makes little holes, just like those stars. They're kind of like a debosser. I don't know if you can see. Can you see that pattern of the little holes in that
Yes, we can.
up in there? And then just for fun, I took one of the, what is it called? It's called the doodle or something flowers. Floral doodles layered die set. And it has these real thin little outlines, and then it has a background. So just for fun, I cut the background out of this dotted, the background layers out of this dotted washi, and then I colored them with alcohol markers, and then I made the top little outline layer black because I wanted to use it with this dotted washi. So it's not my favorite card, but it shows you what you can do with cutting flowers out of washi tape. I mean, I could have made it all black and white. Here's another one that I totally love. Look at this. Now this is another all washi card. This is called gold strings, something like that. I have it on one of my, hold on. I have it on one of these. It's this one. This one that's gold. But see, it's not totally wide enough to go across there. So I did one panel here and one panel there, and then put this over the middle so nobody would know that it was two panels. And then I used another one. This is that dotted with the gold. See the gold spots on it right there? There's a gold spot. So see, you can see it better on the back. That's what's on the sides. And then the back panel of this is made out of this 1 inch washi that I put side by side and cut the back panel of this flower. And the front panel is made out of this washi tape with the gold spots. And then across here, I put the dotted washi tape across the middle. So again, this whole thing, I didn't put leaves on this one. I just went for the plain, but I wanted these gold stripes to be kind of a pack the punch kind of thing. But you can see compared to this, they're kind of the same card, but they're not the same card. Two totally different looks with flowers cut out of washi tape. What do you guys think?
Love it.
Yeah.
Getting thumbs up and hearts.
If you have any floral layering dies like that, try it out. Try different colors. Try a rainbow flower, you know, if you have different bright colors of washi. Now the next ones, I'm missing one of the cards, so it's in your handout, but it's not here. I wanted to show you that I like to put washi on vases. These are both from the Mod Vases, and you can see that I also have a yellow one, which is really my favorite, but somehow it wasn't in my boxes of cards, so I didn't have it to show you. But I love putting different washi on vases because it makes them look real. It makes it look like it really is a vase with texture or pattern on it. This one is believe it or not, is this cement washi, which I thought I would never use, but it looks like pottery in the reality of it. And I really like it. It's so textured. Can you see that?
Yeah.
It looks like it's pottery with gold flecks on it. And then this one is one of the gold striped ones. It's kind of translucent. And so any shapes that you have, whether it's these or maybe you want to make hearts, do washi and then cut out the image, and you know, you have instant pattern and color and everything. I'm really trying to speed up so we're done on time. So the next little section is use washi tape on your cover dies. So here's one that this was an Altenew card too for one of their releases. You see how I used washi on this die? I used this black and white grid, and instead of just cutting the cover die out of white cardstock, I cut it out of washi. And it again adds dimension and interest and pattern and color. And so here's
you put the washi tape on white cardstock before you
Yes.
cut out the, okay.
yes, and then you cut the cover die. Okay,
Because I'm trying to figure out how you're going to get all those sticky pieces out.
you're not going to. So here's another one that I did like that. I put a green leaf one that I don't have out here onto the cover, onto a piece of white cardstock, and then I cut it out with the cover die to make this background for this card. And it's all different colors because I cut it out of the washi, and I didn't have to ink it or anything. It just is all that variegation because I wanted it to kind of look like variegated leaves, you know, that kind of look. So be experimental and cut out cover dies with your washi. Look at this one.
Naomi wants to know if the washi tape cuts really nicely, that she hadn't
Yes,
tried it.
Yes, it cuts fabulous. It cuts fabulous. I made this out of this. And I did not want all those gold dots. So you can see the gold dots on the edging. But this is, look at all the texture on that. My husband saw this and he went bonkers over this one. He was like, oh my gosh, that looks fabulous. Because the black, this golden, those black dots in there make all this texture in that cover die. And it just looks so cool in person. Very shiny, very formal, kind of Art Deco looking.
Now, did you put the washi on black
Black.
paper or
I
white
put
paper?
the washi on black.
Mhm.
And then I put a black background on it so that it popped it out.
And
but-
what weight cardstock do you use?
This is all
for
80
your
weight.
covered dies?
This is all 80. Yeah. But anyway, this is so cool in person. It's so shiny and so festive looking. And then this one is cutting, let's see, it's called the peach, something peach. And again, it's not my favorite washi tape. It's this one that has kind of a, it's just textury looking, kind of blobby, like that. But what I did was that I put it on some ivory cardstock, not white, because I didn't want it to be stark white. And this is kind of ivory colored. I put it on ivory cardstock. I cut out the die. And then I found some pattern paper. It's green on the back, but it's this color. It's in your handout. What color the pattern paper is that I put behind it. But look at how pretty that looks, just with pattern paper and a die cut washi. I really like this card a lot. I like that pattern. And it made that plain washi tape look super interesting, I think. So cover dies for your washi can make it look, your cards look fabulous. How are you doing? We've only got a few left. We have like 6 or 8 left. Are you doing okay?
We're doing great, I think.
Okay, the next,
I got thumbs up, so.
good. The next category that I wanted to show you now, several companies have these out now, but these are both Altenew, is that they have die cut washi. So they're die cut out in shapes. And so both of these cards just have that washi as their focal point. Here's the one. It comes like this, just like that. And you just peel it off and stick it on. Now, what I find is that if I do like on this one, I did the Waffle Diamonds 3D behind here. Can you see that? And I did it on the white also. So it just kind of runs together. The diamonds go from the blue right onto the white. I did them separately, but then I layered on top of each other. But if I have a pattern on the cardstock, sometimes this washi doesn't stick real well. So I used liquid glue behind it too, to make sure that it stuck down. So you just need to be aware that that might happen. So, but anyway, super easy. I mean, I just put both of these card panels through the same 3D embossing folder, and then did the washi right on top of it, and then just made a sentiment and done. So that's one of the die cuts. This is the other die cut. And I actually cut the sentiment out of some of that gold dotted washi with a navy blue shadow die. It shows up better in person. On the picture, it kind of runs together, but you can see it. And then on the navy, what I did on the cardstock was that I scored the cardstock in stripes on the sides just to give it a little texture. Can you see those scored lines in there? Can you? It's hard for me to know what you can see and what you can't. And then, and because I wanted the center panel to be the focal point, but I didn't want this to just be plain cardstock. So, so I did the scored lines in there to give it a little texture. And now this one comes like this, and you can't even tell what's there, but you can also color these. You can color all over the whole top of this with I've never tried inks, but I've done alcohol markers before, and then peel it off and put it on. But I really wanted to have that blue and white look, and I think it's so pretty. And really another super easy card, but it looks very kind of impressive when you look at it. Okay, next to the final hurrah are washi tapes that come with matching dies. And I'm trying to remember what other company has a lot of them out. Does anybody know? I'll show you Altenews, and then you can tell. There's a couple companies that have them out.
Somebody said that maybe Pink Fresh.
Yes, Pink Fresh, that's the ones. But so here's one of the Altenew ones. It is this teal paper. It looks like this. It's real pretty, and it goes with really well with gray or black. And then they have matching dies where you can cut out these individual flowers, and you just put it on cardstock and then just cut it with the die. You don't have to fussy cut it. So what I did was I did the panel just like we did at the beginning of the main washi tape, and then I just cut flowers out, and voila. There, and I did this crystal, I forget what it's called, crystal something 3D on the edges. But anyway, really easy, just a back panel of washi and washi flowers that you can cut out with the die. Then I had some flowers left over, so I made this one just with those same tapes, these diagonal with a little white stripe between them, and put the extra flowers on there. And this is also washi. You can see on the back. So I got 2 cards out of my one doing this, and then cutting a lot of flowers out of some of it. Same thing with this. This is also this paper, which is pretty easy to see. It also comes with dies. So I cut this arch out of the paper, of the washi with the die. I did a die background. I just wanted to do something different. And then I cut the hope also out of the washi, but I had extra flowers. So I made this one, which I love. And this is also cut with the dies that go with the tape. Then I put a strip of washi down here, this width, but a different color. I did the background of white panel in, I put this little thin washi, and then I ran it through the panel with the washi. Can you see that the thin washi actually has the 3D on it?
Mm-hmm.
You see that, Lori? Okay.
Yes.
If you see it, I know other people see it.
Yeah.
So I ran the whole thing through with, I think this is, what is this called? I don't remember. Garden Harmony, I think, 3D folder. And then I put just these that I cut out with the die that matches the washi, and I cut this out of washi. So again, other than the die with the background with the 3D, this is all washi also. Look at how many different looks you can get. It's just so much fun to play with. I'm just hoping that
Naomi
you
wants,
guys-
Naomi wants to know, would it work if you stick the washi down onto the cutting plate and then cut it so that you make stickers?
Yes, and you can do that with acetate too. I've never done it straight on the cutting plate before, but I have done it with acetate, and you can make stickers that way. So I don't know. I haven't. I'll have to try it straight on the cutting
Yeah,
plate.
'cause it would peel off the acetate pretty easily, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yes, it does. So we're on our last page. 3 more ways to use washi. Who knew, huh? Lots of ways. I love this card. This is one of my masculine cards. And it is made, do I have this washi out here? I don't think I do. It comes in a strip and it has all these circles. And I just put it on cardstock and fussy cut the circles out. And then just layered them, these flat on the cardstock and these up with foam tape. And I used that same mustard little thin washi on both edges to kind of make a frame around that. I used it on the wood grain cardstock. Can you see the wood grain on there? I don't know. It's hard
Yep.
with the camera. See there?
You can see it.
Oh, you're dead.
And then I cut this out of the washi too, out of this mustard washi. I just put strips of it, a couple strips on cardstock, and cut that out so it has little dots and things on it you can't see probably on the camera. But this was really fun. And this washi did not appeal to me at first, but I thought, what am I going to use these circles for? But when I did this, I really, really liked it. Just fussy cutting those circles out.
Got a
So-
lot of people like it.
Yeah, so don't be afraid to fussy cut things. You know, if you've got patterns on your washi, just try putting them on cardstock and fussy cutting.
30 because they still had like 2/3 of the cards to get through because yes, she's been speeding it up.
I've got 3 cards left. We're on time. Make a scene with washi. This is washi, this black and white, and this little strip is washi. I wanted to make a windowsill for my little kitty to sit on. So I made it out of washi tape. So use washi, the geometric patterns, particularly to help you make scenery for different settings, you know, if you want to make a scene. So I used washi on this. And then this is the last one on your handout, and it's using alcohol markers on washi. And so this is a whole, this is just normally black and gray and white washi, but I used alcohol markers on it to color it. And so it looks completely different than it did when it started. So don't be afraid to color with your alcohol markers on washi tape, and it's particularly easy to do. Okay, we have one bonus card because somehow I didn't put it in, even though I made it for this class. And that's to show you that you can use thin washi or any washi to make a background behind a die cut opening. So here I use that thin rose, this one, and I just made stripes, and then I put it on a panel. I think this is ivory, not white, and then made a heart die cut, put the whole thing through a floral 3D.
Which one? Do you happen to remember the name of that?
I'm going to have to look it up. I think it's one of the latest ones. I'll look it up. I'll send it to you when I send you the link for the video. And then I cut this out of, I think I cut it out of this one. I think it's cut out of that. This sentiment. And then I just put some pink pearls in the middle of the flowers. It's really pretty. It's really feminine.
It is.
So there you have it. We made it through and we're right on time. Yay. What do you guys think? You can open up your mics again now.
Love
Lot of-
it.
Yay. I'm going to turn me back on my main camera.
Great.
Hold on.
Great job, Sandy.
Yep, fabulous,
Awesome.
Thank
fabulous.
you.
And
It's the wrong camera.
you too, Lori. You did a good job moderating.
I'm trying. I got windows on my screen everywhere. I've got my iPad over here.
And I love your background, by the way. How'd you get
Yes.
that? That's awesome.
I
How'd I
took
get
that
what?
photo. My background?
Yes.
Yeah, I took that photo when I was we went on a trip to England, Scotland, and Wales in 9 days. Like, phew,
Wow.
that's my photo. It was beautiful. I walked up the walkway there and turned around and sat down on a lawn chair. And then my husband came and I said, the bus can leave because I'm not.
That's awesome.
Oh, I
It's,
wanted to
Sir
show
Walter
you guys.
Scott's.
Here is my shelf. Remember me telling you? And I have it
Yes.
empty right now because I pulled so many off to put on my desk. But can you see how they all line up? The bigger ones go all lined up along the shelf.
He did a good job, Sandy.
Thank you, you guys. Thanks for spending the time with me today.
Yes,
to just
thank you.
investigate washi.
Great ideas, great
This
ideas.
was great.
Thank you for
Well-
giving us all these great ideas.
great ideas.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Now you have to show me your creativity and work. I want
Yeah.
you to see.
Mhm.
And don't make it all Altenew. You don't have to at all. In our card making group, it's for everything. So our Facebook group, put something on, and it certainly does not have to be Altenew. And use the washi and see how
Sandy, I love that the washi and what you're showing makes such fast cards.
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Very easy, very quick. And just experiment.
Great.
Experiment. It's a lot of fun.
Handouts, Sandy, because they're very useful.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I work really hard on doing all that together. That's why I can't have a workshop more than once a month or once every 6 weeks because
It's a lot of work.
well,
lot
it
of-
shows that you've done a lot of work.
I don't know how you have a life.
I don't.
I don't either.
Well, I'm retired, right? And then I'm pretty much disabled. I have a lot of trouble with walking. And so,
I know. the
I
feeling.
I work in my card room 2 or 3 hours a day. It's about all I can do. But
We appreciate it, Sandy,
can
all
sit
the
at
work.
my computer.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I can sit at my computer and do handouts really easy. So, and email and all of that. So, you know that I love teaching and it's my life's passion, and I love having you guys come. And when I say I've been excited that you're coming to visit in our workshop, I mean it. I'm not just, saying that. I really mean it. I love you
Well,
guys.
you're a
I love
great
visiting
teacher.
with you.
Yes,
And next time it's going to be different because bring your alcohol markers, any
Yep.
brand, anything
Okay.
you've got. It doesn't matter. You got crayon ones, bring those. Anything that's an alcohol marker, bring, and we will. Now,
wait.
my disclaimer is this: I am not like the expert alcohol marker person. So, but I have learned how to do it in a way that I think ends up looking pretty good. It's not
Good.
it's not like JC if you look at what he does. No, but for the average person wanting to do a flower that's alcohol markers, I'm going to show you what I do and we'll practice together. So, and
Great.
bring your markers that have, we don't want the little nubs like that. Wait a minute, like that. We don't want the little nubby part. We
Brush
want the
markers.
first that have brushes on the end,
Mhm.
like
Right, the
this
brush markers.
there. Yeah.
Right.
So we want to have the brush markers, but any brand, anything, it doesn't make any difference. you know, what you can afford or what you can use, as long as it has a brush marker tip on it. And you can have like 2 or 3 colors that coordinate together, like a light pink, a medium pink, and a dark pink, or whatever.
Okay.
The Spectrum Noir markers, if anybody has those, they're like big long markers, and they have all 3 colors like in a color wave, all in one big marker. I have
Wow.
those too. Oh, damn. My husband
Oh, wait
just
a minute.
walked in.
There's this.
Can you give me one of those markers right there? That's in that can right there. Any of them, I don't care. Okay, here's what the Spectrum Noir markers. This is what I was using before. I got into Altenew.
Wow.
So they have, okay, and they have it marked on here. Light, medium, and dark.
Oh,
Yours are definitely different. Mine is just one
Here's
color.
light. Here's
yeah,
medium.
the Sandy's got the tri blends, they're called.
And
And
here's
they actually
dark.
come in 3 colors, but the original Spectrum Noirs were just one color.
Oh, well, these
Yeah.
are tri-blend ones that have 3 in 1. So they coordinate with each other. And so it's like Altenew has 4 markers that are in a color wave.
Right.
You know, like I said, I'm hoping that we'll get a 20% off on just alcohol markers, their general category, anything in it that you're wanting to purchase, but that might be a stretch. So I will, if you register for the May one and you want to do it, email me, and then I will email you as soon as I get the code from Altenew, which I don't know. I never know exactly when that's going to be. So, and I
Right.
will tell you the expiration date of the code. I do know this, that the set that I'm using with it, which will also be discounted, I tried to find, I have to find sets that aren't sold out, that have plenty of them in stock. There's all these categories that you have to cross off, you know?
Right.
So we're going to be doing this one, which is called Garden Delights. Whoa. But any flower that has a, like, wait, which side am I? This one. Any flower that
Open.
has an outline that's open like
Oh.
this,
Okay.
you
Yep.
can use, okay? Don't use one that has a lot of layers over each other, because I might demonstrate something on that, but I want you to have an open petal to color instead of having all these overlapping swirly things that can get a little bit confusing. And like I said, I might have one of those that I'm going to maybe show you, you know, the basics of, so you can try to do it, but we're going to just do it on an open petal. And
Okay.
so
What's the date of that again?
May 15th.
13.
May 15th.
15th.
It's another Sunday, because like I told you, I have to do Sundays because Bridget has every Saturday taken. So, and I don't, you know, she didn't say anything to me about it at all. Nobody has, but I don't want to step on somebody else's toes. So I'm
Yeah.
kind of the Sunday gal and she's the Saturday gal. So,
Me too.
you know,
Yeah.
so and I
Works.
want you to be able to take anything you want, you know, and be able to do Saturday and Sunday if you want to. So, so anyway, you have any other questions or comments or anything? My throat is kind of
Sandy,
getting,
just go back to the stamp set again. You said the flower's got what's the flower? I know I haven't got that one, but you said
no,
what?
but see how the flowers are kind of this open petal, like
Right.
Fabulous Florets are also one, but they didn't have enough of them that I could use it.
Okay.
They have
So it's just as
big,
long as it's an open
Beautiful.
flower.
as long as it's an
Open.
open, big
Okay.
leaf flower, big petal flower, it's fine. Just don't get one of the fancy roses or something that has 50 layers in it, because that's frustrating to be a starting, you know, something to start on and practice on.
Got a
So-
simple daisy.
Yeah. So also have extra
Thing like
cardstock,
Kristen would do.
because we're going to not just color, we're going to practice some things on just plain cardstock, you know, before we start on the flower. So just have a lot of little cards, you know, maybe the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 white cardstock panels to just kind of practice on how we're going to practice some things before we actually start on a flower. And whatever flower you use, and I'll have this in the email too, but whatever flower you decide to use, print some out, several of them on white cardstock.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
that you have them handy to when we're working on them.
Mhm.
Do we have to
Okay.
have the special paper though for alcohol
You know
markers?
what? We're going to just use cardstock because, well, for one thing, you don't need the same, you don't need like, oh, why am I drawing a blank? You know what I'm talking about for what you use for
Yupo.
alcohol inks.
Watercolor
Like-
paper.
No,
No.
Expressive cardstock?
yeah, you don't need any
Expressive?
fancy cardstock. Now, something if you do have it that works really well with alcohol ink is hold on.
Not Yupo paper. That's great
No.
for the ink, alcohol ink, not the
Yeah,
marker.
that's not for the markers. If you have Bristol, Bristol Smooth, can you see that?
Mhm.
Yeah.
This paper works really well too with alcohol markers, but you don't have to buy special paper. That's why I was going to say just use white cardstock, because I
Okay.
don't want you to feel it's not like alcohol inks where you need the Yupo and you need certain things and
Right.
no, you just need
Okay.
white cardstock,
Mhm.
right? And we're not doing something where it's going to matter if it bleeds to the back. There's a lot of YouTube tutorials out there that talk about different kind of papers because a lot of people don't want it bleeding to the back of the paper. But because we're putting our flowers, either layering them on top of a card or we're laying them on to the card base, we don't have to worry about if our alcohol ink bleeds through to the back. So cardstock is fine. But
Okay.
if you do have Bristol Smooth, you can use that too.
Okay.
I've pretty much tried everything. So just cardstock, print out some of the flowers that you want to use. There will be a 20% discount on this set, I know for sure, when it comes out. And if you want to get any kind of Altenew, markers to try, we should have, there will be a discount. I just don't know on what exactly.
Right.
So does
Okay.
anybody else have any comments or questions for me? I think my throat is kind of giving out
Do you
here.
want, shall we just stamp out them several times?
Yeah.
How many times roughly?
Yeah,
Just stamp them, or do we emboss them out?
make sure, I make sure your stamp is alcohol
Friendly.
marker proof. So for the Altenew lines, you want to use this permanent black.
Feminine one.
Okay.
Okay.
I love this.
Pigment or dye?
Whew.
Now
It's
this is
the dye.
obsidian, which is fabulous, but it's a pigment
it's my
ink, and you
favorite.
can't use it with markers because they will bleed. It will bleed. So you want to use this one that says permanent black, or another brand that says it's okay with alcohol markers. So
Memento
check,
black is good for
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lori,
Yeah,
that's what I was going to say.
yeah.
Which one?
memento.
Memento. Also,
Mhm.
Versamark has a
First
black.
mark. Okay, thank you.
Any of the
Yeah.
blacks that your alcohol markers won't bleed.
Yeah, and so check the packaging on your on yours. And I also Naomi's putting up, she dries her obsidian with heat gun and it doesn't smudge. Well, I haven't had as much luck with dried obsidian as
Me
you
either.
have. But what I have done, and this is controversial, so I'm gonna put it out there and
Do what you want.
do what you want with it. I like to clear emboss my black outlines. And so I have used obsidian and clear embossed it. And then I have no problem with the alcohol markers. But here's the
That's-
controversial point. Some people say that the embossing will damage the tips of your markers.
Yes.
Now, I have never had that happen.
Me either.
I use the permanent ink a lot, mostly because of that, because I don't want to damage them. However, there are people out there who are really reputable, like I can never pronounce her name right. The Ukrainian gal, Yana.
Yama.
Gamma.
Yana. Smakula.
Yana. Yeah,
Magula, yeah.
she does alcohol markers with embossed outlines all the time, and she never says she ever has any problem.
I've done it for 40 years and it's
So,
never damaged my marker.
I'm wondering if it's the colored embossing that
It might
made
be
in.
the gold
not the
embossing
clear.
because it's got powder that's glittery and maybe somehow that,
Right.
you know,
I bet that's it,
but
Sandy.
the clear embossing, I've never had any problems. So
Me either.
if you don't have any alcohol marker proof ink, do it with your black ink and heat emboss it with clear heat embossing and you should be fine.
Yeah.
I like doing that because I like the crispness of the outline.
Right.
I think it looks just crisper and nicer.
Yep.
But, you know, that's just my opinion. And I put the disclaimer out there because I don't want you to say, oh, Sandy told me to do this and I ruined my marker. So, you know,
I keep my stamp in my Misty, and after it's colored, then I go back with the pigment black or the embossing or whatever.
Oh,
do
yeah,
that
that's
too.
good too, Lori.
I do that too. So anyway, there's more than one way to skin a cat, huh?
Right.
So wherever that expression came from, that's sort of a gross expression, but
Not my cat, please.
Yeah.
so anyway, you guys, I will see you tomorrow on Facebook. I have the reason I've been for those of you who are on there, the reason I've been posting all older cards is because I've been doing nothing but making cards for their releases and Altenew and cards for this. And I made 3 or 4 cards for their release for April that are coming out in my blog this week. And I made them with washi because I thought, oh, I'll kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Oh, another expression, right? And then I realized, wait, my workshop is before the release, so I can't use them in the workshop.
Oh, no.
So you'll see them this week. But anyway, I'm doing, they asked me 3 consecutive months to be a guest designer for March, April, May. And you have to do it a month ahead and you've got all these things. And so I just got the May releases in the mail, half of it yesterday, and the other half is coming sometime, and they're all
Hopefully
due
this week.
and the next.
Yeah,
They're all due this week and the next because Lori's doing May too. So
Right.
I have no time to make any cards for me. So all of the cards I'm posting are older cards because I want to give you some inspiration, but I don't have any time at all to make my own.
I bet.
They're new to me.
So as long as they're new to you and you don't care, then I'm okay.
I'm okay.
Congratulations, Sandy, on your award, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I was going to say that also. What an
Nobody's
honor.
more shocked than me, right?
What an honor.
You should have seen it. I didn't know about it. I didn't know a thing about it. And
Tell everyone, Sandy. Some people might not know.
oh, Altenew picked me to be the Altenew Educator of the Year.
Oh,
Yep.
wow.
Oh, congratulations.
What an honor.
So
Very
did the other
good.
educators
Congratulations.
nominate you, or was it Altenew that nominated you?
Altenew, they picked. And I don't know on what they,
You deserve it.
All I know is
Yes.
that here's how I found out. They sent me like a it's like a snow globe, but it's not a snow globe. It doesn't have snow in it, but it has like a little plastic like dandelion in it, and then it has these different colors, and it has a plaque on the front. And it was just the weirdest thing. I was sitting here in my card room and I was having a really bad day. I have to be honest. My pain levels, I'm in chronic pain all the time, and my pain levels were through the roof that day. And I was telling my husband, you know, I can't even sit here and make cards. I don't know why I'm doing all this. It was just one of those days. It was not a good day. And I was sitting here feeling like that, and the doorbell rings and it's FedEx. And so my husband goes and gets the box. And I said, I haven't ordered anything. And he goes, well, it's from Altenew. And I'm like, well, this box was square, like this, like a cube, this big. And I said, number one, they don't mail things FedEx. Number two, they never ship stamps in that kind of a box. So what the heck is this? And I haven't ordered anything. So I pull it out of the box and I see that it says Educator something. And I said, oh, they must have sent, because it was it was a little bit ago after the holidays. And I said, maybe this is a late Christmas present for all the educators. Oh, my husband went to go get it. He wants me to show it to you.
Yeah, let's see it.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Nice. Oh, isn't that pretty?
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then it
Nice.
changes colors on the inside, and there's the plaque on the front. See?
It's
Yeah.
Oh,
beautiful.
beautiful.
Very nice.
So anyway, so I was really confused. And then I read the plaque, this plaque that's here, and it says, Altenew Educator of the Year 2021, Sandra Woodson. And I'm like, what? I mean, nobody called me, nobody emailed me, nobody did anything.
That was your first.
That was my first, yes. And
That's
and
so cool.
There was a card in the bottom. And then they wrote, we picked you as Altenew Educator of the Year. They didn't really say why. They just said, it was pretty generic. But then when I talked to Erin, she said that it's because that one of the reasons was because my workshops attract a lot of people, and she felt like that was because I was a good teacher. So
That's right.
That's true.
Absolutely.
so I don't know, but I didn't know. But that day was such a bad day, and I opened that up and I saw that, and I am totally telling the truth. I burst into tears. I was just like,
It was
I
meant to
cannot believe
be.
it. Where did this come from? And of all times, and I was so discouraged that day. And it just was like a ray of sunshine that came in when I really needed it. So
It's such an honor.
Good for
out of
you.
all the
Yes, it
educators.
is.
Really wonderful.
it really
Blessings
is. So
always come.
Congratulations.
Blessings always come when you need it most, and that's when you needed it.
That's
Yeah.
true.
yeah. And I think I was really discouraged and feeling like, can I just keep this up? Because I struggle with a lot of medical things. And so I was discouraged. And yet when I got that, I thought, you know what? I am doing the right thing. I'm doing what I'm called to do. And I'm going to just keep putting one foot in front of the other and make it happen. So
That's
happened.
true.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah,
and we're
congratulations.
because you do. Thank you.
Well,
Yes.
I appreciate all of you very much. And if you haven't joined the Facebook group, I would encourage you to do it, not because it's just one more thing to join, but because I'm working really hard to make it feel like a community of people together who are caring about each other and supporting each other and encouraging each other, and not just being one more group. So
Yeah.
anyway,
It's doing wonderful.
Yes, it is.
thank you. That's my
Sandy,
goal.
I
That's
have a
my
vision
goal.
that I'm going to be like that moose, and I'm going to be on your back deck peering in.
I'm right behind you, Laura.
You know what? If I didn't live so far away, I would love to have a little card making gathering at my house, but
Yeah, that
alas,
would be
it's a long
fun.
way
That
away
would
and
be
an
fun.
expensive place to come. So it's going to have to be Zoom for the moment, ladies. But anyway,
I'll
Thank
take
you
you
so much.
however I can get you.
what?
Exactly.
Take you however I can get you.
Oh, thank you so much, Laura.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. I really appreciate all of you. And I will see you in May, I hope.
Okay.
In the
Yeah,
meantime,
absolutely.
you on
You
on
will.
Facebook, right? And I'm going to go because
Absolutely.
my throat is toast.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Bye, everyone.
Thanks to you.
Everyone.
And thanks to Lori. Thank you too, Lori.
You're
Bye,
very
Laura.
welcome.
Thank you.
Lori. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.